You look wonderful. Hare Krishna, everyone. Prema Sindhu or P2, let us know when we should start, okay?
Yes,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Coffee, you can write things and hold it up so I can see. I'm not sure. I hope we don't get an echo from Shami's phone.
Possibly. We can close the door. You're already 36 people. Are we like loud or are we muted?
We're loud now.
Hare Krishna, are you muted, Madhava Prabhu? I can't hear you.
Hey, Loka, Haribo.
Okay, Haribo, I'm sorry. I just wanted to be sure I hadn't lost sound.
Yeah. What was that?
So
Yeah,
when
if your phone comes near, there will be echo.
To start?
Yeah, we'll start in another 1 minute. So if any phone comes near you, then there will be echo. So
Okay. So you said there would be an echo of any.
Prabhuji Maharaj is Guru Maharaj is joining now. Yeah.
So Pritu and Prema Sindhu, let us know when to start.
Ritu Prabhu, are you there?
Yes, once Guru Maharaj comes online, we can introduce him and then we can go ahead.
So,
we just offer honors to him and then we'll commence.
Maharaj joined.
okay.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and start now. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept our humble obeisances and welcome to our Saturday morning program. We generally have the Institute for Applied Spiritual Technology. I'm Narayani Dasi and my wife, Devi Dasi. We generally have a Bhagavatam class Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, and we invite you all to come and join us in the future. However, this morning, our schedule is changed. We all received the news yesterday of the departure of Mother Krishna Nandini. And although we knew that this was something that would happen, she was in hospice, with terminal cancer, but still, we were so impacted, so affected by the news. So we discussed it, and we wanted to come together as a community to celebrate together and to console each other together with this event with the passing of Mother Krishna Nandini. We're going to start the program off. First of all, I'll just give you kind of an outline of how we will proceed. We're asking for her God family, her God sisters and God brothers, Srila Prabhupada disciples, to speak first, giving any remembrance or pastime or however they feel inspired to share. And once we hear from her God family, then we'd like to call on some of the devotees who served with her closely in Cleveland and have known her for decades we'd like to hear from them. And if we have anyone from the Grahasta Vision team, we want to hear from them next, and then we open the mic up for everyone. So we'll start with, as I mentioned, we'll start with welcoming her God family, Srila Prabhupada disciples. I've been told that Mother Malati is there. Is that right, Mother Malati?
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mother. Thank you for blessing us with your association. Would you please feel, do you feel, would you like to share with us, please?
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
A little bit unprepared. I just learned about this last night. And I think, as with everyone else, yesterday my day was consumed with remembrances of Grace Krishna Nandini up until nighttime, through the night, and again this morning. But this particular day, it's quite an auspicious day on many accounts. By the Western calendar, November 14th, 1977, was the disappearance day of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. And following in his footsteps, Krishna Nandini exemplified what a Krishna conscious life should and could mean by her own actions, by her words, through the teachings she imbibed from Srila Prabhupada and generously passed on to all those who came into her life. And actually, her passage yesterday, I was thinking about that just the day before. So it was Friday the 13th. And somehow in the Western world, there's this concept that Friday the 13th is some kind of an unlucky day. And I had been requested to give a almost like 2.5 hour Zoom conference class on Srila Prabhupada. And that was yesterday. And several countries were there: Siberia, Ukraine, Russia, France. And as I started the class, a little message came up in the corner of my computer. And when I'm giving classes, I don't look at these little messages. I don't want to get my mind distracted. But I saw Krishna. It's about Krishna Nandini, and I don't know what it's saying. And at that point, I was just being given the information that time was close. So I paused the class, and we all took a moment of prayer and reflection. And then I had been in the middle of a Prabhupada pastime, and I finished that and then reverted to glorifying as best I could the life of Krishna Nandini. And devotees were feeling like everyone was feeling happiness and great good fortune to having known her, even if not personally, but through her activities, through her generosity of teaching all she could to anyone and everyone who came in her path. And I was seeing, like, now I can see the little people's faces, the little, top of the line, and all the faces, people were rubbing the tears from their eyes. And I didn't know how I was able to speak because I felt like joining them and just crying. But on the other hand, I was just feeling the good fortune that she had passed around had also touched myself. And for that good fortune of her association and presence in my life, I feel very much grateful. Grateful is a word that gets quite used nowadays. But gratitude, and we must be grateful. Prabhupada said only an animal is not grateful. But then that grateful has to be exhibited in some tangible form, some action, not just, I'm so grateful, period. We have to do something. We have to show it. We have to share it. So all through the day yesterday, I was trying to remember the beautiful ways which Krishna Nandini practiced Krishna consciousness and interacted with all of us from top to bottom and in between, back and forth. I tried to temper my speech. If you know me, you know sometimes I can speak a little funny. And that way, feeling her presence and guidance. And it kept coming to my mind over these last few weeks of her presence, which we knew was becoming shorter and shorter on this earth. And I was thinking how she never, that I heard, ever raised her voice. She never spoke harsh words. I remember having really difficult conversations with her about very difficult situations and difficult people. And it was always remarkable how equipoised she was and how she never took an opportunity to pitch in a bad word or a negative thought. Qualities of Vaishnav. She was exhibiting the glorious qualities of a Vaishnav in her glorious life. I was speaking to Shama Vallabha yesterday, her son, who last year was initiated by Giriraj Swami. And I asked, may I ask you a personal question? He said, yes. So my personal question was, did you ever see your mother? I mean, did she ever raise her voice? Was she ever angry? Did you ever see that? Because I never saw that. And there was a quiet, like a pause. And then he said, if there was ever any reason for her to be angry and raise her voice, I would have been that reason. Yeah, I was the troublemaker of the family. One time I was 12 years old. I decided I could drive, and I took the car and crashed it. And even then, she did not raise her voice or become angry. Reminded me of Srila Bhakti True Maharaj when the devotees in New Vrindavan took his car while he was away for a couple of days while he was staying here doing some work on his film. And he had this really fancy tricked out Mercedes, which was given to him, although he didn't want it, but it was given to him. So it was here, and there was one young man in charge of it. And the other young boys came and said, come on, just give us the keys. We just want to take a little ride up and down the road, because they were so fascinated by this car. Well, that didn't end well. It went off the road and rolled. So when he returned, Jaishri brought this young man who had driven the car, instigated the whole thing, to Bhakti True Maharaj, not knowing what to expect. He didn't even mention it. He just said, are you all right? Would you like to help me? He offered him some service.
Wow.
So you can see this is how a great soul responds in drastic situations. They're concerned for the welfare of the other person or persons. And they're always thinking how to engage them in Krishna's service. You know. So he said, well, if there was anyone to make her angry or cause her to raise her voice. That would have been me. And he says, but she never did. And then I interjected, but the look. Now, I don't know, I think most of you, if you think about it, will know what I mean by the look. Like that would be the closest you could come to perceiving maybe something wasn't quite on even keel. She had this particular Krishna Nandini look that spoke a lot in its silence. And when I said the look, he started laughing and he goes, yes, the look. How I would love to be looked upon like that by Krishna Nandini again and again. Hare Krishna. Thank you for doing this on such quick notice. Hare Krishna.
That's such
Hare
a
Krishna,
beautiful
thank you.
offering. Yes, such a beautiful offering. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you. Yes, I can see. Oh, oh. So we'll have Chandamali Maharaj, His Holiness Chandamali Maharaj, speak about Mother Krishna Nandini now. What a pleasure to have you on the line, Maharaj. Thank you. Maharaj. Okay, maybe it's not.
Okay. If Maharaj is not there.
I am here. Okay.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Okay. Hare Krishna. My obeisances to you and to all the Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Well, I came to hear, but I didn't expect to speak. But somehow you discovered me.
There are spies everywhere, Maharaj.
We just had a little talk on my regular online class about 2 hours ago, and the whole thing we centered around talking about Mother Krishna Nandini. And it was wonderful to remember all her amazing qualities, the qualities she exhibited, especially in her relationship with others. And one of the things that kept coming up, and a few other devotees who had personal association with her, such as Radha Bhakti from Toronto and Mother Sri Devi, who worked on the same book that she worked on in Grihastha Vision Team. They all expressed it, and of course I was also feeling it, is that she had such a loving attitude towards everyone. I think Malati, also Mother Malati, very nicely brought that out by saying how she was always free from the tendency to criticize, the tendency to become upset when things were causing one to become upset. Personally, I had much interaction with Krishna Nandini throughout the years, especially in Cleveland. Back in the 1980s, it goes back that far, or even the beginning of the 90s, when I used to travel up to Cleveland and do programs. And it was always Mother Krishna Nandini who would organize the programs and invite so many varieties of people from all backgrounds, from all, when we say ethnic groups to come. And she was such an inspiration. One of the things that I always remembered about her and my interaction with her is that she was always very positive and always talking about mentioning Srila Prabhupada. And you could say that she was really absorbed in Srila Prabhupada. This was also brought out by one of her children in a recent interview by Anuttama Prabhu, and how her whole life centered around hearing about Prabhupada, hearing from Prabhupada, speaking about Prabhupada, chanting the holy names, and making her home like a active mandir of many devotees, people living together as a family, but it was more like a temple. And she was the driving force to keep the inspiration of Krishna consciousness alive. In my personal interaction with her throughout the years, it was always something very sweet. And it was always, of course, centered around preaching. She loved to preach, and we can see from the example of her life how much she did, especially in inspiring devotees in Grihastha life to understand deeper the principles that Srila Prabhupada taught and how to apply those principles. So, yeah, when I got the news yesterday, I was just about to give a class. I'm here in Slovenia, and the temple is giving classes morning and evening, and so occasionally I give a class in the evening. And I was just sitting down on the Vyasasan to give a class. I got a message from my disciple, Madan Gopal, that Krishna Nandini had left. And I was lost at that time. I didn't know how to respond. I felt, of course, I knew that she was going through some of her difficult times, struggling with cancer, and she was in Vrindavan surrounded by her family members. But somehow or other, I didn't expect her to leave for some reason. Maybe that's just a feeling we have, that when someone is dear, someone who has done so much for Krishna consciousness, we just don't perceive that they're going to depart. And when they do, it's like you feel like there is this gap between the actual event and how you feel. It feels like somehow they're still there because they were so much part of your life. And that was, for me, that was Krishna Nandini. In the last few years in our relationship together, we would always meet at the Toronto Rath Yatra. And she was always inspired to speak about the work she was doing with people in the Grihastha ashram, speak about some of the dynamics that people were experiencing in their struggles to become Krishna conscious. And she would face many, many challenges and sometimes even difficult questions that people would ask her, and how she dealt with them, both spiritually clear and at the same time very practical to understand. This was another quality about Krishna Nandini. She was very practical. She wasn't like in the clouds with spiritual life. She knew how to apply everything that she learned from Srila Prabhupada. And I may also add, Bhakti Tirtha Swami was also a big force in her life. And both of those persons really gave her a lot that she imbibed, in, which made her preaching so powerful and so effective. And when she would answer questions, I mean, people would accept the answers. I would come to her sessions and listen. And how sure when she spoke. She was never like theoretical, but very, very clear, complete understanding of how to apply the knowledge that Srila Prabhupada had taught her in her practice of Krishna consciousness, especially how she developed that within helping families become more and more fixed in their practice of Krishna consciousness and overcoming the struggles that they were encountering. She was a wonderful, wonderful person, very loving, very caring, and sometimes just more on the lighter side. We would laugh, and she would say something, or I would say something, and we would joke together. And she was, for me, she was like a mother, she was like a mentor, and she was like someone who I could ask questions to and get clear answers. Yeah, for me, my relationship with her was so more natural, so relaxed, so without familiarity, but at the same time, very natural. I could always feel like myself when I was with her. I didn't have to be anything else. And sometimes I was too much myself, and she would say, Maharaj. And then I would like, okay, I'm getting a little bit of a correction here, but she would never correct me. She would just make these, explanations like, so yeah, there's so much about her that it was a part of her life in preaching Krishna consciousness and making a big impact on people, not only who were devotees, but people in the secular world, people in other religious traditions. She bridged the gap beyond all forms of sectarianism, and so much so that every year, even this year, we were supposed to have a festival in the beginning of September this year, but of course, due to the situation, it wasn't possible. And she was always thinking of how to organize and bring people from all spiritual backgrounds, faiths, religions together. And that was something that she was good at, natural for her. There's so much I could say about her qualities, about her motherly care, about her loving relationships, and about how she was clear on everything she did. It was just amazing. I never saw her bewildered. She was always like, this is it, and this is Krishna consciousness. So thank you for giving me the opportunity. And I'm sure you have so many wonderful devotees there, especially His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, who can enlighten us further on the glories of this wonderful soul, Krishna Nandini.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj. It's also good to see you. I understand you had a bout of illness, and we're so happy that you're recovered and you look well. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. And I'm so happy to see both of you after all this time. When I think of coming to the US, I think of coming to Washington, DC at the Institute.
Bless you.
Yeah, we miss you. Thank you,
We
Maharaj.
miss you so much. So now we will introduce Her Holiness, Her Grace, I should say, Mother Narayani.
Mother Narayani, are you there?
Maybe we should go up.
Sorry. I am muted, okay? Now you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you so much for asking me to speak. I didn't have much association with Krishna Nandini, but what I had was so amazing. I was just amazed by her faith. She had such a strong faith, and you could feel it. You could feel it when she spoke. Can you hear me? Is it okay?
Clearly,
Yeah,
yes.
good. Perfect.
Okay. All right. Yeah, her faith was amazing. How she joined, how nothing could stop her. And so I was remembering Srimad Bhagavatam in the beginning where it says, Ahaituki apratihata, that pure devotional service, nothing can stop it, and it is causeless. So her preaching was causeless. It was just mercy. It was just completely, there was no motive, there was nothing behind it. It was very pure, and it really touched the heart. And so she's an inspiration for me. Oh, here, I could put my video also. I just saw it.
There you are. Yes.
A little dark. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, she really has improved my life by her association. And I do miss her very, very deeply. I remember last I saw her was in Vrindavan, and I was trying to find her place, and I got lost, and I went to a place a little bit some distance away, but she saw me from her window. And even though she was so sick, she came down, I think from the 3rd floor, and she was trying to find me, you know. And that's how I saw her and went to her room. So yeah, she really didn't think about herself. She only thought about others. And so these are the things that I would also like to apply in my life. She's an inspiration for me, a great inspiration. How nothing can stop you if you have the desire to serve Prabhupada. So I'll try to follow her example in my life and spread the light like she did. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mother, for sharing.
It's wonderful to see you. Thank you.
Haribol.
Haribol. Now we will invite Mother Kamangiri. Mother Kamangiri is a very close, intimate God sister and friend of Mother Krishna Nandini. When you saw Mother Kamangiri, you saw Mother Krishna Nandini. When you saw Mother Krishna Nandini, you also saw Mother Kamangiri. They were inseparable, really loving, beautiful friends. So please speak some pastimes, Mother Kamangiri. We invite you to speak.
Please don't expect anything. We'll see what Krishna allows. I'll do my best. I'm so grateful to all of you, my obeisances and well wishes to everyone. This is a very difficult day for me for 2 reasons. The first reason is that it's the original anniversary of the disappearance of Srila Prabhupada, which is always a very difficult day. It's a happy day, joyous day, but it's also very difficult. And 1977, on this very day, I was the caretaker of the temple in East Cleveland, Radha Muralidar's temple. And because I was the caretaker, I used to clean. So we were having breakfast and the doorbell rang. And when the doorbell rang, I ran downstairs to get the door. And it was the male person, and he had a big box. And so he brought the box in, but it was too big and awkward for me to carry, and I would have to take it upstairs. So I went upstairs and I said, there's a box, but I can't carry it, so we need someone to bring it upstairs. So my husband at the time, his name was Bhakta Tony, he came down with another devotee and they took the box upstairs. At this time, I had never known of any murtis of Srila Prabhupada anywhere in ISKCON. So when we opened the box and, they started taking, I won't tell all the details of the story, but they started taking the packaging materials out. There was this beautiful murti of Srila Prabhupada. And we took the deity out of the box and put it on the temple president's desk, who was Arjit at the time. And all the devotees were so happy. We were so happy. Srila Prabhupada had come. November 14th, 1977, he came to our temple. And then after a few moments, the phone rang. And it was New Vrindavan. And they said, Srila Prabhupada just left. So imagine you're like so ecstatic and so happy. And then in the next moment, you know, it's like devastation, you know. So this day is exactly like that day for me, because, you know, the feeling of happiness and great distress always has to manifest sometimes together in my life. So the disappearance of Mother Krishna Nandini yesterday, you know, we're happy that no longer she's having to go through the physical suffering, but spiritually she was ecstatic. I was just thinking, you know, Srila Prabhupada, I won't tell the story behind that one, but he was receiving her. And, you know, yesterday I just was sharing with another devotee how it was a grand celebration. Srila Prabhupada was just welcoming her in his arms. So I was really kind of happy, but at the same time, you know, still emotional. But then Madhavacharya had to call me and say he wanted to do this program today, and can I speak something? Now, yesterday I wasn't thinking. Krishna didn't let me remember that today was going to be also that same day in 1977 when Srila Prabhupada disappeared. So it happened this morning early the same time. When I realized that it was also the disappearance, original disappearance of Srila Prabhupada, you know, and it was like devastating, completely devastating for me, because it's like the same mood, you know. You have to celebrate, but at the same time, you know, it's so devastating. And then you have to celebrate Govardhan Puja, you know, so I have service. You know, so during that day, you know, we had so much pain and heart-wrenching emotions, but we had to celebrate the disappearance of Srila Prabhupada. You know, so that same mood is manifest for me today. You know, so I can't stay on for the whole time, but I'll stay as long as I can, but I have service, you know, to celebrate Govardhan Puja. And I said, Krishna, why are you so unfair? Like, why did it have to be today? You know? But Mother Krishna Nandini and I, we've been forever friends. You know, we talked about, we've been doing this forever. And I'm not sad by her leaving, because I know that I'm going to see her again. We'll meet again. We have a promise, His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami, that we would always be together. And Maharaj would say, we can't remember which side. He would say, one of us was on this side and one of us was on this side. So we know that we're always going to be together. So in that way, I'm ecstatically happy. But at the same time, you know, just to stick around, you know, and wait for the reunion, you know. I'll just have to see how Krishna arranges that, you know, that why do I have to stay back and wait, you know? So, but I've been knowing Mother Krishna Nandini since 1975. And I had an opportunity to meet with her. And they had a small temple on a street called 123rd Street. And it was upstairs, and they had two apartments across from each other. It was her mother, Mother Bhumata, who is also our god sister, and Mother Krishna Nandini, but it was a combined, but it was separated by a hallway. And I went there, and they didn't know me, but they took me in so lovingly and so nicely, and they shared prasad with me, you know. And the temple was called Radha Shama Sundar Mandir. Srila Prabhupada had given them permission to have a temple in the inner city. And so, you know, they actually made many devotees from that situation. So from there, that was my first meeting with her. But at that time, she only had two children, which was Radharani and Bhakti. And her young brothers were there. And Mother Bhumata, you know, she was like the matriarch, the spiritual matriarch of the family. So when you see Mother Krishna Nandini, know that Mother Bhumata was like 10 times more spiritually. She was a warrior. They put her in jail, and she was in the jail. Namaste, namaste, They said, we need to get her out. They said, no, you gotta go, because she wouldn't stop chanting. But she was a fighter. So Mother Krishna Nandini was a fighter. She had very good training in that sense, you know. But, you know, I love her. And we've engaged in so many, I can't even begin to tell, pastimes and service together. And I don't want to keep going because, as you see, I have my box of tissue. And, you know, I'm trying to hold myself together, you know, to make it through this. But, you know, the children and the programs and the service. But one of the special qualities about our relationship is that, you know, where I was very weak, she was very strong. And she allowed me to engage in my service in serving her and serving Srila Prabhupada. And that was a very special, unique relationship that we had. You know, she allowed me to love her in the way that I could, you know, my servant. So I'm not going to go anymore because it's just too hard for me on this day. But thank you so much for your divine, loving service in Srila Prabhupada's mission. My well wishes to all of you. You know, and we're taking this journey together, and I know that we'll all come together in a big reunion in the end. You know, so thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Mother Kamangiri ki jai.
Thank you, Mother Kamangiri.
Jai.
I mean, it's only by being together that and associating with each other and loving each other that we can tolerate, you know, these type of events. It's only in each other that we can find, with each other, that we can really find solace and ultimate celebration. So thank you so much. And it's good to see your wonderful daughters as well. We love you all. Hare Krishna. Hey, how are you? Hare Krishna. So I think Mother Rukmini's, Mother Rukmini, are you on the line? And we'd love to hear from you next, please.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's so poignant the way dear Kamagiri Prabhu was speaking, that it's a time for tears and it's a time for celebration as well. And it reminds me of a story of Ramanujacharya, that when he was in his last days, his disciples were all crying, and he said to them, "Why are you crying?" And they said, "Because Guru Maharaj, you're leaving us." And he told them, "I should be crying for you. I'm going to Vaikuntha, and you're staying here, and I'm the one who should be crying for." And so it's a very poignant time to lose the friend and association of such a dear, really acharya, you know, who was among us. You know, it's so interesting again hearing Kamagiri just speaking about how Krishna Nandini's mother Bhumata was a fighter, and Krishna Nandini was a fighter. But I was thinking when she said that it was like she was a fighter, and her weapons were like these arrows of Krishna consciousness that you would just get, you know, she would just shoot those arrows of Krishna consciousness into your heart, very pure, very powerful, like her unbreakable faith and unbreakable ardent enthusiasm. And yet, you know, she was such a serious devotee and so strict with herself, but so welcoming and compassionate to everyone she met, everyone who crossed her path. I mean, you know, raising up all her children and raising up God sisters and all devotees and the Christian people and the Muslim people that she met in the community and that she, just embraced and shared all the common ground of real Krishna consciousness. She was not in any way a sectarian thinker. She didn't know anything like sectarianism. She was just sharing pure bhakti everywhere in a fearless way. And, I was thinking about, Narayani was mentioning seeing her in Vrindavan, and I also went to find her when I was in Vrindavan. She was there doing this very arduous treatment for her cancer. And as I remember, she was saying that she was there doing it because her children had asked her to do it. Her cancer was very advanced even at that time, but she was there doing this very painful, very difficult treatment on the request of her children. And so she gave me a little gift. She gave me this little, I'll show you. She gave me this Jai Radhe pendant. I don't know if you can see it. She gave me that, and I cherish that. And she always had a gift, and her life was a gift. And so she wanted everything for others. She wanted her sons to have male role models in their lives. Wanted every one of us to have the best chance at real Krishna consciousness. And so the other day, my husband and I, Anutama Prabhu, and I called her. We were very grateful to her daughter Krishna Kumari, who made a time that we could speak with her a little bit, say goodbye to her. And we remembered being with Bhaktitirtha Maharaj during his last times, his last days, and how he was giving instructions to each of us, and how those instructions just seem to be coming directly from Srila Prabhupada. When someone is in that, liminal space between life and death, they're closer to those who've gone before us. And so Anutama Prabhu asked her if she had any instruction for us. And she looked so effulgent, like she was just about to enter Krishna Loka. And he was talking about how he remembered his sister when she was dying, and how gray she looked, and how she really looked like someone who was dying. But Krishna Nandini, her face was totally effulgent, like she was just about to enter Krishna's embrace. And so we asked her if she had any instruction for us. And she just put her head back, thought about it for a minute, closed her eyes. And then she said something so beautiful that I think is a beautiful instruction for all of us. She said, just be happy, joyful devotees and servants of Prabhupada. She said, there's so many sad sack devotees just moping around, feeling depressed, but we have so much to celebrate in Krishna consciousness. Just be happy, joyful devotees. And really, she was talking about gratitude. Malati was talking about the difference between real gratitude and kind of lip service gratitude. And that's what she told us. Just be joyful, happy devotees. And that's such a gift back to Srila Prabhupada, to show him our joy in executing Krishna consciousness. So those are my thoughts. She was a great role model. She was a guru for all of us. She was a real guru for all of us of how to live in this world, how to live in this temporary world as a lover of Krishna in all situations. So thank you so much. Just a few thoughts. All glories to Nandini, my dear God sister, mentor.
Thank you, Mother Rukmini. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mother Rukmini. One thing about the pandemic we're in is that we don't get a chance to have personal association and see each other so much anymore. or not at all anymore. So we miss your, close association. I'm going to break protocol a little bit. There are one or two other Srila Prabhupada disciples we'd like to hear from, but I believe that Mother Krishna Nandini's son is on the line, and we want to offer him the platform to speak and give him our loving support. Is Shama Vallabha there? Is he there?
Haribo Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
I'm glad to be here, especially in association with all of these great devotees, Mother Malati, Radhanath Swami, my dear Mother Kamagiri, Krishnangi, Madan, all of the great devotees that I'm able to be with today. So I just want to say that I'm very grateful, first of all, to have the mother that introduced me to Krishna. Because of her, I'm able to be here today in association with all of you. Because of her, I have a foundation. I hear Srila Prabhupada's voice. Growing up, our whole house was filled with Krishna consciousness. Even though I didn't understand a lot of the different things that she was doing, like I'm picking this out the carpet for Krishna. I'm like, Krishna doesn't care if you're picking that up, but she was teaching us. I'm cooking this for Krishna. I'm doing this for Krishna. Everything she would say or sing, and she never forced Krishna consciousness on us. She always just was an example. And I'm not going to go on for too long. I just want to just express my gratitude and say that I pray that I can just have a drop of her devotion to service, so that I can help the devotees any way I can, or help other people to become devotees, because that's the only way I can repay her for what she's given me, is to help other people understand that, Krishna loves us and he wants us to come back home. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Our love and prayers are with you. We're sending you a lot of love. Thank you.
Thank you. We have another Srila Prabhupada disciple, a god brother of Mother Krishna Nandini's, our own Lakshmivan, who's here with us and who supports us and leads us. Lakshmivan Prabhu, are you on the line? Can you speak?
Yes, I'm here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jaya, please accept my humble obeisances, all devotees. I'm so glad that we can be together. I think myself, like everybody, is feeling that empty space now when, someone that we relied on, their presence, is now gone. And, as Srila Prabhupada's family departs, and the family members, we always took them for granted, that you're here, you're always going to be here, you're here for me to serve and listen. And of course, family members sometimes we fight with, you're here for me, I'm going to fight with you, or I'm going to befriend you, I'm going to serve you, like siblings always do. But we need each other, and then when that person is gone, we feel a real empty space. I'll just read a brief sentence or two that I wrote on the IFAST community group. I just wrote, "Goodbye, Mother Krishna Nandini. Thanks for being my big sister. I bow down to you. You were strong, serious about devotional service, and your family is a dynasty of Srila Prabhupada's servants. You are gone from our sight, but you showed us what to do. Srila Prabhupada and Lord Gauranga have blessed you already, and we have to follow you. Now our family is smaller, and I miss you." So, Srila Prabhupada started his movement a long time ago, it seems now, when all of us were young. And we just thought that Srila Prabhupada would always be there. And then Srila Prabhupada disappeared, and we thought, well, all of us will always be here. And now, one by one, we're realizing that all of us are also mortal. And we have to do what Krishna Nandini and other serious devotees have done, which is, practice Krishna consciousness and try to not consider ourselves as part of this material world. And, that's a big thing that it seems that Mother Krishna Nandini did. It's easy to be, in my case, I see as a materialistic devotee, right? Living in the world and thinking, oh, this, I can practice Krishna consciousness, but I'm comfortable. And I like, my life in this material world. But, Krishna is teaching us that we don't have this life in this material world. It's fleeting and it's going to go. And it's not a tragedy. It's not a disaster. It's the expected course. And we have to prepare. And then be grateful, as Rukmini was recounting a minute ago. And my dear God brother, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, who is here, once told me, just be happy, when I was complaining about some things. And I took that as meaning that we should be grateful. We should accept what Krishna has given us and try and move forward and not be so worried about trying to enjoy something in this material world or trying to hold on to something in this material world, because it's going to go no matter what. That's guaranteed. So Krishna Nandini, when I heard her tell her story about how her mother became a devotee, facing so many obstacles, and how her mother brought the whole family to Krishna consciousness. This was a few months ago, or a couple months ago. We were all together on the Zoom group when Mother Krishna Nandini told this story. And as she told more and more of the story, even though I had heard some parts of it before, I didn't know a lot of the details. And as she told the story, I just found myself like shouting. I muted myself and I was just shouting and I was punching the air, saying, yes, yes, Jai Krishna Nandini. Wow, what a heroic story. Amazing, amazing. That's the spirit. That's what it was like. That was the transcendental world. And, I just found myself awestruck and astonished and in happy kind of disbelief at the awesomeness of her story and the way she told it. And, during Srila Prabhupada's time, all of us felt that powerful draw towards Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet and Lord Gauranga's lotus feet. And, Srila Prabhupada himself empowered everyone to give up this material world. And, now Krishna Nandini has done a great job, and we just have to do what she has done. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Krishna Nandini. And Krishna Nandini Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Lakshmivan Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Our obeisances to your mother.
She's doing well, thank you. Just yesterday, when I heard the news, she and myself and my sister, we sat in a circle and held hands, and we chanted the Maha Mantra 3 times for Krishna Nandini.
Hare Krishna. Wonderful. Thank you. So I'm going to ask Mother Nirakula, are you on the line? And can you share, please? Hare Krishna. So while we see if she's available, is Hanuman Prabhu. from Spain. Are you on the line? Are you able to speak?
I'm online. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. It's a few words. Anyway, it was unexpected. I was only coming to hear and to somehow soothe my heart. Anyway, I didn't have that much association with Krishna Nandini, but as you're mentioning, I mean, just a little bit was a lot coming from her. I met her first time along with Tariq and some of their children in Cleveland when we went there to develop the curriculum of Grihastha training. And I was immediately amazed by first of all, her unbreakable conviction. I mean, strong conviction, deep and unstoppable enthusiasm in Srila Prabhupada's mission. I mean, it was so inspiring, completely committed. I mean, 100%. But overall, what impressed me most and what I've carried since I was with her first time and other times I've met her was her overwhelming love. I mean, I haven't seen, and I was sharing this with some devotees here in Spain yesterday. I mean, I haven't seen many people in this world with such a big heart, such Mahatmas. Her heart was so huge that she had room for everybody. And somehow or other, she made a deep impression in the hearts of others just by her love. And as I said, I haven't had much association with Krishna Nandini, but whenever I have had that opportunity, I felt that love and I carry it with me. It's a person that has, in spite of the few times that I've met her, is a person that has had a huge influence in my life. And I wish that sometime by her prayers, I can have my heart a little bigger and be able to receive that love and to give it to others. In a way, as Rukmini was saying, it's been a gift. I can't imagine what it must have been for all of you who have had so much of her association. But in my small experience, I have it as a great gift from Krishna to have had the opportunity to be in Krishna Nandini's association. So, and I'm sure that as Mother Kamangiri was saying, we will all join together with Prabhupada and doing service together again soon, because we're growing old, so it'll be soon. Thank you very much for allowing me to say something. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. As you said, Mother Krishnandini had a huge heart and she touched people all over the world. All over the world. So thank you. We You want to introduce the next?
So now we invite Mother Rajalila and Kabira Prabhu as part of the Grahastha Vision team. They did a lot of service together with Mother Krishna Nandini, and they had a very close relationship with her. So if you can kindly speak, please.
So first, we want to thank Madhavacharya Prabhu and Kunti Devi for making themselves available and bringing this program together so spontaneously. We thank you very much. Speaking about Mother Krishna Nandini, there's so many different facets to share something about her. However, I want to just read something that I happened to see yesterday on my calendar when after Sham Prabhu called to let us know Mother Krishna Nandini had left. And somehow I walked over to the calendar it's a calendar from Srila Prabhupada. And on this calendar yesterday, November 13th, it says, this is a lecture from Srila Prabhupada on Laguna Beach, 30th of September, 1972. It says, we're calling everyone to go back to home, back to Godhead. This is Goloka Vrindavan. There, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is residing with his consort Radharani. So that's just something that's taken from the class. The reason that caught my attention was, of course, because we're calling everyone back to Godhead. And then secondly, mentioning about Srimati Radharani. So Mother Krishna Nandini was that person in my life that gave me some introduction in an expanded sense of Srimati Radharani. And that happened kind of a little early in my Krishna conscious life when His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami took me to Cleveland, the early 80s. I guess I had come back from a trip in Africa. And he took myself, and I think there were a couple other devotees. I'm sure there were other devotees, I'm sure. There were only a few people with him at the time in terms of devotees that, were doing service with him. And he wanted us to meet his mother, and he wanted us to meet his homegirls. That's what he called Mother Krishna Nandini and Kamagiri. I want you to meet my homegirls, and I want you to meet my mother. And so we went to Cleveland and met Mother Perline. And then I met Mother Krishna Nandini, Mother Kamagiri. And I remember distinctly the things that connected me with both of them. One of the things with Mother Krishna Nandini was her beautiful children. At that time, she had young children, and they were just so beautiful, so Krishna conscious. It was just emanating as I was in their presence. I was just thinking how beautiful this is that these children are all speaking and being so Krishna conscious. And then, of course, Mother Kamagiri, she was very dedicated to cooking for His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, ultimate. And so, yeah, again, meeting her and meeting her children, she also had, beautiful, beautiful girls that are now grown up girls that have their own girls. And so that was kind of the first connection. It was a connection of family. And I had come from Africa where, I was kind of preaching without like a family. I don't know. I wasn't so much focused on family in that sense. We were trying our best to share Krishna consciousness and not so much an emphasis on family. And so it was Mother Krishna Nandini and Mother Kamagiri that assisted me to have this focus, this family kind of focus, to appreciate family in Krishna consciousness. And it was Mother Krishna Nandini that always spoke about Srimati Radharani. Anytime I was in her presence, I remember somehow I would always leave remembering something about Srimati Radharani, something I would want to learn more about, something I would something would open in my heart about Srimati Radharani. And so as the years went on, I could understand that she sincerely had this deep connection, this deep affection for Srimati Radharani. And so that has helped me in my Krishna conscious life to be more aware of Srimati Radharani's, not her presence per se, but just be aware of Srimati Radharani and her relationship with Krishna, and of course, Lord Chaitanya. And so, yeah, there's so many things that so many of the devotees have said about Mother Krishna Nandini. And I guess I just kind of remember what Anuttama Prabhu said after Rukmini shared that. Anuttama Prabhu asked Krishna Nandini, what instruction would you like to give? And that instruction of being joyful and being happy, that's kind of how I knew the devotees in Cleveland. That's how I knew Mother Krishna Nandini. That's how I know Mother Kamagiri. They were joyful and happy, practicing Krishna consciousness. And not to say, as everybody knows, there were so many obstacles, so many obstacles. And I'll just close with this last connection with her. So Ekavira Prabhu and myself, we had just got back from India, and we were involved in the devotee care committee. We were a part of that. And Krishna Nandini, she knew that we didn't really have a service per se in America. And so she invited us to be a part of the Grihastha Vision team. And the words that she gave us, what she shared with us when she welcomed us into the Grihastha Vision team, I shared in a letter yesterday, was that she wanted so deeply to see committed Grihasthas dedicated to Srila Prabhupada's mission that were exemplifying this care for each other and this happiness and this joyfulness in families. And so, although we are not in any way, myself and Ekavira Prabhu, we are not qualified to be spokespeople for Grihastha, at the same time, we are very committed to Krishna Nandini's vision and to her dedication and her devotion to Srila Prabhupada, because Srila Prabhupada did give her that instruction to do that service. And so we're so grateful to her for helping us to understand how important it is to encourage Grihasthas in Krishna consciousness, and that it is joyfully performed if someone keeps Krishna in the center, Guru and Krishna. So thank you very much for allowing us to share.
Hare Krishna devotees. Before I actually share anything, I'd like to offer our prayers and thoughts and well wishes and obeisances to all the devotees who were inspired by Krishna Nandini Mataji and affected by her departure, and especially the family, Shyamabala Prabhu and Tariq Prabhu and the rest of her family. We offer our prayers and well wishes to you. This is Raja Leela's first experience with Mother Krishna Nandini was with Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj in Cleveland. My first experience with Mother Krishna Nandini also took place in Cleveland some years after Raja Leela's encounter with her. But I also remember that experience, first going to Kamagiri's house and meeting both of them. And of course, it was after a preaching program, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, and he was so eager to actually go here because he was going, as Rajulu said, to meet his homegirls. And I remember they were so happy to see Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj and greeting him. And I'll never forget, Mother Kamagiri made these paneer steaks, barbecued paneer steaks. And they were literally maybe, I don't know, some of them were about 10 inches long by 4 inches wide. I never forget that. I can just, and of course, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj said, yeah, they feed me well whenever I come here. And I remember that was one of my most joyful and happy experiences. And so they shared this particular mood of trying to encourage the devotees to be happy and joyful through their services. Mother Krishna Nandini, she was always, I don't know, 3 different areas that just came to me today that I thought I would speak about, and that was how she was so encouraging, so enthusiastic, and so empathic. Encouraging, she's that description for me of that Vaishnava, that devotee that takes the essence of the spiritual master's instruction and then makes it their life and soul. That Sharagrahi Vaishnava, that person that just grasps that instruction and then shares that with everyone. And her first experience with Srila Prabhupada was one in which was quite traumatic. And we won't go in, of course, to the details. But when the family was approaching Srila Prabhupada for initiation, and there was some resistance by the temple president in actually recommending them for initiation, Srila Prabhupada expressed to them, whenever I see a spark of Krishna, I will fan it. I will fan it. And so this particular experience, and this wasn't a direct instruction that Srila Prabhupada gave to Krishna Nandini, but she grasped that particular mood of Srila Prabhupada and shared that throughout her entire life. Wherever she would go, she would actually fan that spark of God consciousness. And this is something that she just imbibed. She had that motherly, sisterly, friendly mood, genuinely being the well-wisher of everyone, a friend to everyone. And her enthusiasm, we all experience her enthusiasm, especially when she actually would speak. I remember when she went to Mayapur, at that year, we didn't have the opportunity to go to Mayapur. However, some devotees were sharing with us their experience in Mayapur. And one devotee, I remember him speaking to me. He said, and I tell this story, and of course I embellish it a little, but I share this story. The devotee expressed that he asked me, he said, who is it? Who is this Krishna Nandini Mataji? I said, oh, yes, she's, devotee here in Cleveland. We are fortunate. They said, yes, you really are. Said she gave a class in Mayapur, and I swear, I thought Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj had put on a sari and sat on the Vyasa-san. She was speaking with so much enthusiasm and conviction. I was like, I just was totally amazed. I just had to try to find out, who is this particular devotee? Who is she? And then another person who was there, and he's actually a leader in our movement. And he shared with us, and this was unsolicited. He said, I'd have to say that of all of the events that I attended, all of the classes, everything during that Mayapur festival, I was most inspired by Mother Krishna Nandini's class. And this is just two devotees who had that experience during this Mayapur festival. And that's something that, you know, being so close here and having the opportunity to hear her speak, that I personally tended to take for granted and not appreciate, you know, the depth and, you know, the blessings that were coming through when she was speaking and trying to encourage us in Krishna consciousness. And then the last point was her empathy. And Chandramali Swami spoke about how practical she was. She was practical based upon that desire to actually, again, become encourage devotees, take that lesson of Srila Prabhupada, and also consider another person's shoes, what they are actually going through. And it manifested in giving practical instructions. And she took that and she molded this vision of the Grahasta Vision Team. I remember she shared when she was in Detroit during one lecture, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was speaking. And when he started speaking, he said, I want to introduce you to one of my god sisters, Krishna Nandini. She is the leader of international Grahasta, what is it called? Not the Grahasta Vision Team, the International Grahasta Ministry, the International Grahasta Ministry. And Krishna Nandini said she looked at Tariq and said, what in the world is he talking about? So a Grahasta Ministry, this was before the Grahasta Vision Team. He said, we don't have a Grahasta Ministry. What is he talking about? And so she said that what he was doing was actually speaking into the future. It's something that, you know, that she would actually do as an offering to Srila Prabhupada because of her desire to take that lesson that she got from Srila Prabhupada and fan the flame of Krishna consciousness through the actual embassy or through the actual tool of the Grahasta Ashram. So we express we're torn. We're grateful to be here and at the same at the same time we miss and love her dearly.
And we just want to thank His Holiness Radhanath Swami. We know he's on the call. And it was his association also with Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj in Cleveland that brought these devotees so much alive in our hearts. So we thank Maharaj for patiently being such an amazing example as always of allowing other devotees to speak before him. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Thank you.
Thank you, Raj Nakavir.
Thank you so much.
You know, you're both very dear to us. Your instruction, your shelter, your friendship, your mentorship means everything to us. Similarly, we have His Holiness Radhanath Swami. He has another engagement he has to tend to, and we do want the great blessing of hearing from him before he has to leave. We are so grateful he's given us so much shelter through so many difficult times in our lives, through the disappearance of our own spiritual master and Kubera and some others. And I remember him even coming to this area right after 9/11 to offer shelter to the devotees in this area. So we're just very grateful he's here, and we'd like to hear from him now. Maharaj, please.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. In these times when a person who is so dear to our hearts and so prominent in our lives is taken by Krishna from this physical world, And we remember Krishna Nandini Devi and hear others sharing such heartfelt and sincere remembrances. I'm feeling completely insignificant in her presence. I would like to just share, she was a person who her eternal soul was always shining so brightly in her life. Her incredible compassion, determination, courage, faith was all utilized to help people become happy in Krishna consciousness. And Krishna Nandini Devi in our ISKCON movement, I believe she directly experienced all the worst possible things that happened. So much of the dark side of human nature, even within this movement. Whether it's prejudice or abuse or misconceptions, neglect. And yet, she always had such faith, enthusiasm, and so much committed to help others be happy within this movement. And she did it with such genuine desire. The concept of Saragrahi is who she was. She was seeking the essence. She understood so deeply who Srila Prabhupada was and what he was giving us. And she so fully surrendered to what Srila Prabhupada gave her that she could see through everything else. Nothing could disturb her faith. Where there was difficult, where there was disease, she was just there to bring health and happiness. She loves Srila Prabhupada. She loves Krishna. We heard from Shambhala Prabhu, one among her 10 children and many grandchildren, how with such compassion by her life, she gave them Krishna consciousness. And what beautiful children she has. Not only the children within her family, but everybody that's assembled here today. I really feel we're all her children. She gave her life to give us Krishna. And she taught us that essence of Krishna consciousness by the way she lived, by the way she spoke, by the way she responded to situations. Especially, I'm remembering today the special relationship I observed between Krishna Nandini Devi and His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj. They were so proud of each other. It wasn't something you had to examine. It was something that was so visible. Whenever Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj was giving a class or leading a kirtan or dancing in a kirtan, and Krishna Nandini Devi was present, the way she lit up, she was so illuminated with joy, with gratitude to see her god brother. During those last weeks of Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj's pastimes at Gita Nagari, when Krishna Nandini would come, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj would be giving a class or leading a kirtan, how she was in fixed, rapt attention, and you could just see the exuberance of her total pride in her god brother. And that is the way Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj was with her. She and Kamagiri Devi were, what was the word? Home devotees or whatever.
Girls.
Home girls. Yes. They came from those streets of Cleveland and gave light to the entire world. Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj and those home girls. She could just fill our hearts with happiness, even when she was going through these most difficult times of throughout her life and in her last days. I'm remembering visiting her in Vrindavan, and in her little room, she had this medicine that the doctors were giving her that she said it was the worst tasting medicine she ever experienced. And there was also this lizard that kept coming in her room. And I guess, she loved the soul in the lizards, but she wasn't so inclined toward their bodies being in her room. And it's just the nature of the world. No matter what arrangement we try to make, Krishna's going to send something that's going to be disruptive. But she just laughed. To have a sense of humor about all the miseries of material existence is only really possible to come from the heart when we are deeply taking shelter of Krishna. And her love for Srila Prabhupada was like an ocean. And in that love for Srila Prabhupada, the love that she was given for Krishna and for every single devotee. As has been said by so many exalted persons today, she just didn't have time to find faults with people. She just didn't have time to find faults with situations. She was just too enthusiastic to make others happy in Krishna consciousness. Kamala Dala Jala Jivana Talamala Bajahun Haripadani Tide. Govinda Das, he offered this prayer that everything in this world is like a single drop on a lotus leaf. Life itself is going to be taken away very quickly. And what we do with our life during this time is what makes our existence meaningful and beautiful. Krishna Nandini Devi, 10 children, so many grandchildren, so many friends, so many well-wishers, so many students, how much she gave her heart to this Lord Have Mercy festival, to the Grihasta Vision team, to preaching, to inspiring. She captured the very essence of interfaith and made it visible before our eyes. Everything about her, I could always just, whenever she was doing these things over these last few years, I could always just picture in my mind's eye Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj smiling upon her, and Srila Prabhupada's flowers of grace showering upon her. When it was time to go, she really was not attached to anything except giving happiness to the souls of devotees, to all living beings. That's who she was. And I pray that her influence, her presence can grow more and more and more in our hearts and throughout our entire movement. Because I do believe that what Srila Prabhupada wanted our Krishna consciousness movement to be was personified by Her Grace Krishna Nandini Devi. And by Srila Prabhupada's great mercy, we had the chance in so many ways to have her association. To her family, to her friends, I share your sorrow in her departure. And with the tears of our feelings of separation, let us celebrate her truly glorious life as she's come into the loving embrace of Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. We are grateful for your, you and your God brothers and sisters giving us a light which guides us through the fog of our sorrow. So thank you very much. We're going to ask for another. We have two other homegirls from Cleveland who have known Mother Krishna Nandini for many decades. Mother Ishopanishad and Mother Paravati. We'll ask them to speak now, please. Mother Ishopanishad, can you speak first, please?
Jai, Hari Bo, Hare Krishna. Jai, I just want to say thank you so very much. I will try not to cry and show my emotion for this. Pretty much everyone had said what my heart feels. And we're all feeling that same way about Mother Krishna Nandini. But I really wanted to just share in how Mother Krishna Nandini has actually fulfilled a service through my guru, Bhakti Tirtha Swami, on taking care of me. He asked Mother Krishna Nandini to look out for me. And my instruction from my guru was, if you ever need anything, or if you have any problems or worries or concerns, just run to Mother Krishna Nandini. And that's what I did. I think I might have actually bugged Mother Krishna Nandini to the point that, I always called her. I always spoke to her. Wherever she was, I just made it a point and I even thought about it. Should I call her now? Should I bother her? But I did. I just had to have her association. It was through Mother Krishna Nandini. It was through her love of Srila Prabhupada that gave me the understanding of who Srila Prabhupada was. It is because of Mother Krishna Nandini love for her divine grace, Srila Prabhupada, that I get it. And I am eternally grateful for that wonderful blessing that she has given to me through her love of her guru. I feel like celebrating, actually. I really, I picture Mother Krishna Nandini getting into the chariot and riding off into Krishna land with Krishna, Vaikuntha, And I also know that she was very compassionate and she wanted to share it with everyone. So I actually saw her waving to everyone and being very excited about entering the heavenly kingdom, the abode of Krishna. This is how I pictured Mother Krishna Nandini's departure. And I just can't think of her departing any other way. Srila Prabhupada was there, Bhaktitirtha Swami was there. Everyone that we've ever talked about, everything, Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, all of these wonderful exalted personalities, that we are always thinking of and trying to become pleasing to, was there. So I'm never going to miss Mother Krishna Nandini because I always know that she's always going to be here. By Srila Prabhupada giving her the name Krishna Nandini, she always helps me think of Krishna. So I am very humbly, eternally grateful for that wonderful association. I have really been blessed. And I just want to continue to show how I am very, very, very grateful for her association and for her grace in my life. Srila Prabhupada is just so wonderful. He's given us everything, and he's given us so much wonderful association through all of you wonderful, wonderful Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mother Ishwapanishad. Thank you so much.
To see you. Thank you.
So we're going to ask Mother Parvati to speak next. Mother Parvati, are you there?
Hare Krishna.
Mother Parvati, please forgive me, but before you speak, I want to just say one quick pastime. I took initiation in May of 1991, and I was working. This was the day before initiation, and I was working in a backyard where the initiation would take place. And two women walked in the door, and they came through the kitchen and into the backyard where all of the devotees or soon-to-be devotees were working. And these women carried themselves in such a way that everyone stopped what they were doing and turned around and looked up. And I remember thinking, okay, who are these ladies? I mean, they carried themselves with there was a regal bearing about them, such gravitas, or as we say now, such shakti. And they just emanated this amazing wisdom and power. And everybody wanted to know I wanted to know who they were. And those two women on that day were the first time I had the great pleasure of associating with Mother Krishna Nandini and Mother Parvati. So please share with us, Mother Parvati.
Shri Krishna. Mancha Kapachubis Cha Kripa Sindha Eva Cha Patinama Vaishnavi Jai Prabhu's Hare Krishna. I first want to offer my heartfelt condolences to Krishna Nandini's husband, Tariq. Also to all of the children, I'd like to really set aside a special prayer and wishing that they will be able to navigate through the loss of mother. The loss of mother is like nothing anybody can prepare you for. Even when you know that person may be leaving, there's nothing like the actual leaving. And so anyone that has still their mother present, appreciate that to the utmost, because it's very, very difficult. And so I offer my heart and my prayers to all the children and to Krishna Nandini's husband, Tyreek. One of the things that I understand about Krishna Nandini, Devi Dasi, is that she had a lot of passion for the state of things. And so we spent a lot of time together going over what we wanted to see how we could be instruments for change. And so I just shared something because I didn't want to ramble on and I didn't want to get so emotional that I didn't take full opportunity to remind everyone of some things that Krishna Nandini really wanted us to focus on. So I first met Krishna Nandini's mother, Bhumanta, when I was pregnant with my first child, Tulsi. Mother Bhumanta told me I would really like her and that we would become best friends. Well, I remember the day I first met Krishna Nandini at the Cleveland Temple. Her oldest daughters, Radharani, was about 11, and Bhakti was about maybe 10. Krishna Kumari was about 8, and Shyaima Sundar was maybe 5, and Mohan was about 3. And Shyaima and Mohan, they were so sharp in their suits. They had matching suits, and it was just so, so cute. Mother Bhumanta was right, because Krishna Nandini and I developed a very close relationship from that day on. Surprisingly, I noticed how much Mother Bhumanta's influence was showing up on Krishna Nandini Prabhu in the later days. Her mannerisms and her voice inflections, all so much pronounced, just like Mother Bhumanta. In fact, in my last conversation with Krishna Nandini Prabhu, we discussed this and she confirmed that she was feeling her mother's presence more and more. Interestingly, Mother Bhumanta was one of Krishna Nandini's 3 Aquarians. She often referred to her husband Tyreek, her mother Bhumanta, and me, saying how similar and yet different we all were, but having a special place in her heart, and also bringing our own uniqueness to her life. In this way, her husband Tyreek brought a special kind of love, a special kind of care and protection that gave her the confidence to act outside of her comfort zone, ultimately leading to the remarkable growth we all witnessed in her. But it was her Grace Bhumanta Devi Dasi, Krishna Nandini's mother, who was responsible for introducing her to Krishna consciousness. And it was Mother Bhumanta's determination that led to them going to Texas. And thereby she took initiation with Srila Prabhupada. For those that knew and loved Mother Bhumanta, she was a spiritual warrior. And due to her commitment for justice, she was actually wounded on the battlefield. Nevertheless, she had an intuition and a profound ability to predict future events. Often while speaking to Mother Bhumanta, I was awestruck by her uncanny analysis of people, places, and things within our Krishna conscious movement. It was Mother Bhumanta Devi Dasi that embedded in her daughter this wonderful, sweet demeanor and deep-rooted desire to make some differences in bringing more consideration for our children and for people of color. Krishna Nandini Prabhu and I had many discussions about this condition and how we as women, with what appeared as so many limitations, could affect some change. In fact, Her Grace Krishna Nandini Devi Dasi was able to further the discussions for change and have some impact in the perception of practical applications of Grihastha family with children. In this way, some very important lessons were shared by her directly and through the Grihastha Vision team. First, individuals in family life should not feel inferior to others who have become renounced. Second, marriage and family is an honorable institution where real spiritual growth and wonderful examples of nurturing relationships are present throughout this Krishna conscious movement. Third, women and children have a right to be seen and heard. Both are important and should never be left unprotected, unloved, or unsupported. But our spirit souls deserve an equal opportunities to serve in Sri Mahaprabhu's movement. Lastly, and certainly not least, that personalities of color, both young and old, have a need to develop and thrive in a spiritual Krishna conscious culture that practically applies principles of racial fairness. Additionally, endeavoring to lovingly embrace the blended multicultural family that can practically live together in the house Srila Prabhupada built. Therefore, when we truly consider the fight that our beloved Krishna Nandini Devi Dasi fought, we will also not forget to put these things on the table and continue the discussion and continue to grow and make a change in this Krishna conscious movement so that more of our children will begin to embrace, take initiation, and really live the life that we mothers, we fathers, we elders have dedicated our life to. Jai Shri Krishna Nandini Ki Jai.
Jai, Mother Parvati. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mother Parvati. I think that's a really, really wonderful and powerful point that, of course, one of the best ways to honor Mother Krishna Nandini is to honor her work and to continue her work in terms of respecting grihastas and making a place for women and children and people of color within our broader community, within our house. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Now, next we'll invite Shantamani Devi and Jagannath Pandit Prabhu, who are part of the Grihastha Vision team and have been working with Mother Krishna Nandini for many years very closely. We invite them to speak, please. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Glory to Srila Prabhupada. I'll speak on behalf for both myself and my husband as he's at work today. And I'd like to thank those of you who made this exchange possible. It's very healing and it's very fortifying. And I, thank you and Madhava and your whole team for your many, many years of dedicated service. And it's just been such a blessing to just hear all the beautiful exchanges about Mother Krishna Nandini, and it just really fortifies the heart. For myself, since that, I think I'll call it fateful day in January 2018, when Mother Krishna Nandini called me and told me that she was diagnosed with cancer, I've been in various stages of anticipatory grief in terms of how will I manage this loss? And His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj spoke so beautifully that phrase. He said that nothing could disturb Mother Krishna Nandini's faith. So I'm seeing through these almost 3 years of this awareness that she had this terminal illness and, you know, would leave her body. All of us would leave our body at some point, but when someone has a diagnosis, it puts it more in your awareness. I've seen so much that the very lessons that I've learned from her over the over 30 years of being under her wing have actually prepared me for this moment in ways I didn't expect. When I thought about Mother Krishna Nandini's leaving, there were different stages, like, you know, when I first got the news, and then, you know, those first early months, and then she had the surgery and it seemed like things were okay. So there were different phases of managing it. But the theme that would come up with me so often was, what am I going to do without my mother? And my mother in this life left her body in 1992, and Krishna has blessed me with a few devotees who have really served that role strongly, and Mother Krishna Nandini is one of them. And so I realized through this anticipatory grieving process, that she in a major way stepped in a way I didn't realize, in the shoes of the mother that I didn't have physically in this lifetime. So times when I would struggle, I would think, this is my second loss. You know, I'm once again having to go through this. How will I survive? And I've experienced a lot of losses in this lifetime, and somehow Krishna's helped me to manage them, but somehow this was just like killing me. And so through the teachings of Srila Prabhupada and the guidance of my spiritual master and all the mothers in the movement, Mother Rajalila, Mother Malati, Mother Mini, Mother Archana Siddhi, Mother Uttama, Mother Kunti, Mother Kamagiri, Mother Yeshwanasa, Mother Parvati, Mother Yashodamai, and many I haven't listed, have really, really assisted me. And Mother Krishna Nandini's dedication and love for Mother Radharani. So on September 15th of this year, I woke up in the morning agonizing once again about Mother Krishna Nandini's imminent leaving. And I got a message, I think through her, that reminded me that our true mother is Mother Radharani. And so I had this heart pendant and that I've had, and I was guided to get this heart pendant and wear it, and I've worn it every day since. And it's a reminder that ultimately Mother Radharani is our true mother, and she's always with me. So that's a gift from Mother Krishna Nandini. And I would like to say that I've seen so many miracles that I feel will help me in the grieving process. Early on when she was first diagnosed, I heard a class by His Holiness Radhanath Swami, and he said, the Lord has a message and a mission, and he utilizes his most sincere devotees for that purpose. And so that really helped me out, because at the beginning I was like, why is Mother Krishna going to leave? We like need her so much in the Grahasya Byzantine. So when His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj said, the Lord has a message and a mission, and he utilizes his most sincere devotees for that purpose, I was like, oh yes, you know, Mother Krishna Nandini is being used in a most important mission. And then I was reading Giriraj Maharaj's book, Watering the Seed, and he was talking about His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And this is pretty soon after Mother Krishna Nandini was, diagnosed, that I read this. And he was saying that oftentimes it may take a leader of a particular mission to leave their body for that mission to really explode. And that really gave me another level of comfort. As everyone knows, Mother Krishna Nandini is so dedicated to the understanding of how the Grahastha ashram is an essential, critical, essential, critical element of Krishna consciousness, and it has great potential for us to propel those in this ashram and those considering entering the ashram to propel us in our Krishna consciousness. And her dedication, her clarity, her commitment, her strong, unbreakable belief in that fact has been transformational for so many of us in this movement. And so there's so much more I could say, but I would like to say that my prayer is to be able to live how she lived. My prayer is to be able to cry out for Krishna's intervention in a sincere way. My prayer is to have full faith in Krishna's will. And my prayer is to be used as an instrument, firstly in my own marriage and in my own dealings and my own interactions and in my preaching service to help to fulfill her desire that all of us can have joyous lives in whatever ashram that we're in, but to know that the Grahastha ashram is a viable, powerful, potent vehicle to speed us on our path back home, back to Godhead. And I ask for the Vaishnav's prayers that Krishna Nandini can use my particular body and all of our bodies, and that we can expect the Krishna miracle of her active presence in all of our lives. So I thank her and I thank all the devotees, and ask that we continue to hold each other up. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki, Vaishnav Thakur ki jai.
Narayani Devi ki jai. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Just joined.
Okay. Thank you, Shintamani. You carried a lot of the enthusiasm and energy and potency of Mother Krishna Nandini just then.
I really felt that.
Mercy. So I thank you for that blessing.
Thank you so much.
So we are going to continue for another 20 minutes or so. And so we want to apologize that we're not able to hear from everyone. As I mentioned earlier, Mother Krishna Nandini has touched the hearts of hundreds, if not thousands, of people all over the world. And I'm sure this will be the first of many programs to honor her, to celebrate her, to sing her glories. We wanted to hear from one of our local amazing sadhus, and someone with whose heart is as big as all outdoors. Braja Vihari, are you there? Can you offer
Hare
to
Krishna?
us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Well, I didn't. It's amazing. I had very, very little association with Mother Krishna Nandini. One time, I gave the class the day after she gave a class in Chicago, and I can just remember, like, all I'll say without getting details is she was a very hard act to follow. Very hard act to follow. But I'm getting so much of her association today, and I'm so grateful to hear about the impact that she's had on so many people that I've heard from who I have such great admiration for. And so through them, hearing about her. But I will yield to my wife, who's also on the call, and she wanted to say a few words, if that's okay.
Yes, wonderful.
Yes, please.
Very well.
Haribol.
Haribol.
Thank you for this great honor to say something. Krishna Nandini was an amazing devotee, amazing person. She lived an amazing life. She did amazing things, and she left an amazing legacy. Just like my husband's experience with class when she gave the Sunday talk here in DC a number of years back. I remember during the talk, I could see on people's faces, because sometimes, we get a bit passive when we're showing up for a Sunday program, but people, I could see on their faces, and then afterwards they were asking, who is that person? Who is that devotee? Where did she come from? Her teaching and her presentation was so just so full of heart. My video is not off. Okay. But I was also recently asked to introduce her. She was speaking at the North American Vaishnavi Sangha, the online Sangha, and I wrote something to introduce her, and unfortunately, due to my bad timing overlap, I wasn't able to introduce her and read this to her in person, so I'd like to read it now. So I don't know if I'll go off video, but I have to just pull it up. Krishna Nandini is a living, breathing poem because she does what a good poem does. She stops us in our tracks, makes us pause and think and see things differently. Like a poem, she touches our emotions, draws the feeling out of us. In her presence, you feel like you are held in a warm embrace and simultaneously swept away by the strength of her convictions. She is a short and crisp haiku. Don't do me, do Krishna. And the dancing lines at the end of a sonnet that forgives and extracts the best out of all situations. Krishna Nandini is the pilgrim's progress, but not an allegory. She is the real, live, living truth, the real deal of what we know, love, and cherish about the practice of Krishna Bhakti. Krishna Nandini is the North Star poem, leading the way in that bright, beautiful night full of stars, connected and connecting others to the sweet and full moon of Lord Krishna. Krishna Nandini ki jai.
Yeah. Thank you. That was beautiful.
That was beautiful.
Wow. Thank you so much. You're a great writer, Ananda Vrindavan.
Blessings of the Lord and the Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
So we're just going to hear from one or two others, and then we're going to, we'd like to chant one round of japa together in honor of Mother Krishna Nandini. I think I see that one of her daughters is Krishna Kumari. Are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, Hare Krishna. Please.
Hare Krishna.
Do you feel up to sharing with us?
Not right now. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just listening.
Understand. Completely understand. We're with you.
Yeah, our hearts are with you. Our love is with you, and
we're here for you.
We're here for you.
We love you. Yeah.
So, all right, we're going to ask Anutama Prabhu, another one of our local. Anutama, of course, is an international personality who does service to Srila Prabhupada all over the world, but we claim him here in DC, and we have the greatest of respect and love for him. So, Anutama, are you there?
Hare Krishna.
He's trying to join. Take my computer in the other room and try to catch him. They're asking you to speak, so here you can, from my computer, you're not muted.
Okay, that was kind of quick.
There he is. Hare Krishna.
I'm on Rukmini's computer. I'm sorry I haven't been here. I really wanted to be, but I had another commitment and I got off that as quick as I could. I was hoping to come in and listen to everybody else for a while, but so Mavichar, so you want me to speak now? Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay. So, how Johnny, I was actually starting to jot a couple of things down I wanted to say. yesterday, there's an article in ISKCON News. If you get a chance, you can take a look at that about Krishna Nandini. We didn't have a chance to really do something in real depth, but we put something together kind of quickly, and I had some comments there. And Madhva Smallen, who's our main writer, he calls me often on different things, and he'll ask a quote from me now and then. But when I told him, look, let me give you a quote. You got to get your story out in a hurry. This is important. People need to know about Krishna Nandini's passing, about how wonderful she was. And I rattled off about, I don't know, 4 or 5 paragraphs of things. And I could have gone on a lot longer. And I told him at the end, I said, I really hope you had that recorded, because I can't do that again. But I was kind of surprised at how easy it was for me to, surprised because of my limitations, not hers, but surprised how easy it was for me to just say a lot of nice things about her. Because she really is an exceptional woman and an exceptional devotee. And, you know, it's at the point now, those of us of my generation, you know, I might have to start putting some cue cards together and keeping them in a box, because there's going to be like a lot of folks leaving over the next few years, some of whom I know well, some of them I may not. And, you know, it's the custom, and it's appropriate custom. Somebody passes away, everybody wants to say nice things about them. We should, even if our relationship wasn't so good. Krishna Nandini, for me, is not difficult to speak long. And I'm sure you all have been. I'm sorry I missed that. I think it's being recorded. I look forward to come back in here in the future. Such a remarkable woman. And the things I was thinking about just a couple of minutes ago, I mean, you know, for her story is so amazing. I'm sure it's retold a few times on this call, so I don't want to do that. But I think she just exemplifies for all of us, there's no material obstacles in Christian consciousness. And she's not the only one that teaches us that, but she's a very important one who teaches us that. You know, a lot of ways it's like, well, how the heck could she ever, you know, have a significant impact? There's so many obstacles, you know, the story all the way from driving to Cleveland, driving to Dallas and all of that, and so many other challenges. But the thing that I was thinking about that really, you know, I love this lady. You know, she's just remarkable devotee, remarkable woman. And I was thinking, you know, just a few things. She broke so many barriers for us, those devotees that know her. And I mean, you know, I'll mention a couple of these, and some are a little trivial and some are like, I remember meeting her and kind of thinking, this lady's really Christian conscious, but can you really be devoting, like wrap one of those things around your head like that? I mean, the deities term is like that, you know, and, you know, some men in the book should be a photo, like a painting of a man with, like, women, is that the way is that okay to do that? I guess so. She's pretty Christian conscious. Okay, so, gosh, and geez, you know, like you had a book published about you with, you know, here's the book, here's the picture. Many of you have this, you know, there they are. Wow, you're a couple and you're allowing yourselves to publicly hug like that. I mean, gee whiz, and you can still be Krishna conscious. I mean, obviously I'm going back a decade or two here, right? Gosh, you run a clinic about telling, you know, non-devotees, you know, other people how to have more healthy marriages. And that's a good thing to do in Christian consciousness. Wow, that's, you know, it, for some people that's, oh, wait a minute, you're married to a what? He's a what? Did you say Muslim? You're a Prabhupada disciple, a serious devotee in a leadership. You're married to a Muslim man? Whoa. You know, it's like, okay, got it. I can adjust. And, you know, and for me, I mean, I work with interfaith groups, so it wasn't a big adjustment for me, but, you know, I'm just kind of giving an example as a community. I think maybe in some ways it was for me, but, you know, for all of us as a community. And then, you know, it's like, okay, got it. Wow, that's great. You can incorporate all this in Christian consciousness. Like, okay, how many kids do you have? You're a Christian devotee, you're a Prabhupada disciple. How many kids? You know, and then you meet the kids, and of course it's like, wow, how do you have even one kid like that? How do you raise one son or daughter? And you know, so many. So I think, I mean, she's, you know, she's been a pioneer for us in so many ways. You know, all of her work with the Grouse Division team and with, you know, interfaith counseling and counseling couples. And I think one of the most important things at this time, historically, culturally, for our movement, we know we started out as a society of, you know, 16 to 20-year-olds. I remember when I was a Sankirtan devotee, there was one devotee who was 29. And he would come back from book distribution and he would take a hot shower every day, which in itself was really pushing the envelope. To take a hot shower was like, whoa, you know, you can still get up and chant japa after taking a shower. But he had to do that because he was old. He was 29, and that was a big stretch, you know, like to keep up with the young guys. So that's where we were primarily. It was brahmacharis and brahmacharinis. You know, then some people got married, weren't quite sure how to accommodate those people. Some people, I mean, at my time, I remember one devotee moved out of the temple. He left the movement and he came back a few weeks later for the sun feast. We literally did not know how to relate to that person. Because if you're a devotee, you're in the temple. And if you're not in the temple, how do you be a devotee? I mean, this is going back decades. But I think going forward a little bit, Krishna Nandini played a very pivotal role because she was a major player in our movement maturing, and it hasn't gotten there ever around the world, but maturing to understanding that you study as a brahmachari and then you graduate to the grahastha ashram. When you're old enough and you're mature enough, you graduate. Now, some people, the exalted souls, we know Prabhupada says it's even best, there's a small percentage that continues on and renounce their entire life. For the vast majority of us, we're going to get married. And we need to be prepared for that marriage. And we need to be helped in that marriage. And then, you know, kids tend to come in marriage. Some mystical thing there. Somehow children come and we got to take care of them. And, you know, that's a whole nother set of challenges. And then there's money challenges and there's job challenges and there's how do you balance sadhana, all of those things. And Krishna Nandini really played an important role. She was the leader. She was a founder of the Grouse Division team and so many things. And she played this phenomenal role of helping us deal with the reality, you know, like calming down and saying, wow, now I'm married and I'm going to be Krishna conscious. And now I got a lot of kids and I'm still going to be Krishna conscious. And now I'm going to, you know, be in a book and be Krishna conscious. She was such a wonderful example of you know, like they say in the Christian tradition, being in the world, but not of the world. She was just a wonderfully focused follower of Prabhupada, disciple of Prabhupada, dedicated to Prabhupada, faithful to Prabhupada, and faithful to the Vaishnava tradition, to the community, and really gave her life's energy. And not just in theoretical ways, but in practical ways. And, you know, for me, that's kind of my weakness. One of the other folks I like almost as much as Krishna Nandini is Abraham Lincoln. And one of the things that he said, I can't quote it exactly, but it's a beautiful expression. He said, I don't give so much credit to a man's religion if his dog and his donkey aren't better because of it. So this idea that, you know, if you claim to be a religious person, so are you better at work? Are you a better neighbor? Are you a better mother, a better father? You know, then to a certain extent, don't want to understand it, but like, what use is it? You know, if it doesn't manifest in who you are and who you become. And I think Krishna Nandini is such a beautiful example. So just like you read something like Shama Sundar's biography of Prabhupada and Mukunda Raj's biography, one of the things they talk about is Prabhupada was so down to earth. He's establishing this global movement and, you know, staying up all night writing these profoundly theological and you know, mystical writings. And then in the morning, he's just dealing with, you know, standing in line, waiting for the shower with his hippie followers. And as I read recently, helping to take out the trash, helping Mr. Chuti, who's the landlord in 26 Second, helping him take out the trash. And I see, because he was so practical and transcendental, I think Krishna Nandini has been like really a living example for us, those of us that knew and were blessed to have association, of how you can be very Krishna conscious and how you can be and need to be very, very practical and very down to earth. And she's a great example. I love her dearly, and I'm going to keep her example in my. And I hope that someday I can really embody the level of Christian consciousness that she always carried. And I pray for all of her family and all of her friends. Tariq's a dear friend who I never would have met without Krishna Nandini. I'm blessed to have him in my life. And I pray that we all can continue to uphold her and keep her as an example. Just a wonderful woman, a wonderful mother, wonderful devotee, wonderful wife, just a transcendentalist living amongst us in just very ordinary ways. And that's what makes it so beautiful. So focused, so transcendental in her vision, her conviction, her determination to serve Prabhupada, but manifesting that every single. Sometimes we'd have Grahasta Vision Team calls, and we're back when I was more active with them in the earlier years, and we're having like a planning meeting over the telephone, and she's in the background giving counsel to one of her kids about their math project, and just talking to somebody else about straightening up the dinner table and this and that. And this is really what it means to be Christian conscious. I think this is really what it means, and she embodied that, and she accomplished a lot, and I'm grateful to her, and I pray that her spirit can continue to inspire all of us for many years. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Anutama Prabhu. You showed how far out she was. She was completely far out.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Prabhu.
Amazing. Thank you. Yeah.
So we're just going to take one or two more. Someone who is like a son to her and like a son to us also. A wonderful young man. Ganesh, are you still there? Can you speak? Ganesh Prabhu, are you available?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, Ganesh, we can hear you.
Okay. Hare Krishna to everyone. Actually, I'm out cycling, so it's kind of a bad time, but I'll speak. So, Mother Krishna Nandini means a lot to me, more than I think anyone can ever imagine. So, one of the things I would like to share is that growing up Krishna consciousness in New York, I've always thought to myself, I faced so many trauma going to Catholic school, coming to America as a foreigner, our parents trying to make us Krishna conscious. And I've always said before that these trauma, I would give up anything. If I could do this again, I would give it up. I wouldn't meet the devotees because the trauma was so bad growing up trying to be a devotee. If I could do it over, I'll be a Christian, I'll be a Muslim, I'll be somebody else. But over the past few years, I've had the pleasure of having the kind association of Mata. And I thought maybe like 2 years ago, I will go through this trauma 1,000 times over to meet Mother Krishna Nandini. There's nothing I would give up to not meet this special soul. She means so much to me. I'll share something personal about the potency of Mother Krishna Nandini. I was married to her daughter, Ganga, and our relationship didn't work out so well. And due to the love of Mother Krishna Nandini, I think we're more close now than before we were. So I would like to thank her for giving us such examples to live by. Everything that she preached, it's just examples for us to live by. So I would like to thank all of you for giving me like this short notice to speak. But I'm actually cycling on the Brooklyn Bridge in New York. But I will miss my mother, Krishna Nandini, very, very much. I cried the entire time yesterday, thinking, what am I gonna do without my mata? I don't know how to move on with life without her. But her devotion to Krishna consciousness also reminded me that Krishna, you just have to believe in Krishna. So when we were in India, to start Mata Ayurvedic treatment, we were going to Varshana. Mata said, let's go to Varshana and visit Varshana to start before we start our Ayurvedic treatment for cancer. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me because the wind is a lot, but I'll keep talking. So.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So as we were going up these steps to Varshana, I was tired. Mata was so tired. Mata said, Ganesh, I said, let's cancel it and do it another day. Mata said, no. I said, do you want us to carry you up in the palanquin? It's a long way. Mata said, no. I said, do you want to go around the shorter route? We can take a taxi back to the shorter route and go up there. Mata said, no. This is my last chance to see Srimati Radharani, and I'm gonna enjoy this walk. And then she said, sweetie, we're here trying to preserve life. We're trying to sustain life. And I want to be better for my kids, for you, for the devotees. But soon, I hope I get the opportunity to see my Krishna. And that was her life. Her life is just about Krishna and Prabhupada. So I'm hoping to just live by such a little bit of example that my life is just about Krishna and serving Krishna, serving Guru, serving the devotees. That's what Mata was. So thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm tired of writing.
Just drive safely and
Be careful.
Be careful. We miss you and thank you for that powerful offering. Very powerful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
See you soon. Haribol.
So, yeah, we're going to have one more offering, and Mother Jadharani's here, and we're going to ask her to speak, and then we'll chant one round together in honor of Mother Krishna Nandini.
Om Nam Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Nam Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Nam Bhagavate Vasudevaya. The first time I heard Mata give class in her unique way, she sang this melody, and I will always associate it with Mata. Mother Krishna Nandini has one of the biggest hearts I have ever had the mercy to encounter. Though she had her own 10 biological children, she has always had time to extend her love and compassion to others, and that included me. She was my auntie, my friend, my mentor, an exalted example of a steadfast servant to Srila Prabhupada. So personal with you, she exuded a peaceful, warm, creative, and fun-loving persona. At the annual women's retreat in West Virginia at the temple, at the ISKCON temple in West Virginia, she led Tulsi Puja. Her singing was angelic, and her chanting afterwards was so powerful, like the warrior that she is. It brought me to tears. It was exciting to attend the Lord Have Mercy Festival in Ohio, of which she was an organizer. It was enlivening how she brought the interfaith community together to praise Krishna. Mata could run. In those relay races at the annual devotee cookout in Ohio, Mata could run. It was exciting to have her come visit in DC, and it was an honor to host her when she visited, when she had business in the DC area. And she invited friends over and preached to them, even though she was there to take care of some other business. Kunti Devi Dasi and I had the mercy to visit Mata a few months ago, and, with the intention of serving Mata. But mostly Mata, she had us play games to learn how to build better relationships. She enthusiastically gave us a tour of her temple room and explained how each one of the lordships came to be there. She gave us gifts, and she made sure that we were taken care of, and we got to, share a meal with the family. And to Mata's entire family, I want to say thank you for sharing your mother, your wife, your confidant with all of us. That's no small, service. And we really appreciate you letting us share a part of Mata too. And to Mother Krishna Nandini, thank you for everything you've ever given me. I can never repay you. I just hope to make you proud in this lifetime. Hare Krishna. Mother Krishna Nandini Ki Jai.
Prabhu, can I say something really quickly?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Just now when Mataji was singing that Om Namo Bhagavate, actually that sounded like my mother. Like that brought me to tears. So that was amazing. And that's when every time I hear that tune, that's exactly who I think of also.
Mm-hmm.
The way she would sing that, and just with such sincerity and faith.
Yes.
And one more thing about the running. She got that from her mother. Mother Bhumi was in her 60s, and she was chasing us around the house. Like she would catch us, so you better not. Yeah, she would go running around the house. My oldest sister Bhakti can tell you a story. So Mother Bhumi, Mata got that from her. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you for sharing.
We all love to hear your mother sing. I'm sure she's singing right now right in front of Shishi Radha Krishna for their pleasure. So thank you so much. Yeah. So we're going to chant one. And I want to thank everyone who contributed and all of those who couldn't contribute. Thank you for spending this afternoon to glorify such a worthy personality, a personality that's worthy of being glorified, it's worthy of being praised, and whose example is worthy of being emulated. Thank you so much for joining us. And I also wanted to thank the people who do this program and make this program possible every week, and that's our leader, Pritu Prabhu, and Prema Sindhu Prabhu, and Gopishwara. They organize our weekly programs. So thank you for them making this all possible. And now, let's chant together in deep sincerity, crying out to Krishna and thanking him for sending us Mother Krishna Nandini and thanking him for welcoming Krishna Nandini back home to Godhead.
Yes, Lord.
You can all unmute your mics and we can all chant together.
Krishna Nandini ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare
Hare
Ram.
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Ram Ram,
Yeah.
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Krishna.
Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Hare Krishna,
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Ram,
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Krishna Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Krishna Krishna
Hare
Krishna Hare Hare Hare
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram
Ram
Ram.
Ram Hare
Hare Ram,
Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Ram
Yeah. Ram. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram.
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare
Ram.
Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Ram
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram
Hare Krishna,
Ram Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Ram Ram, Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram
Everyone, thank you so much.
Krishna, thank you, devotees. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Mother Krishna Nandini will live in our hearts. She will continue to live in our hearts. We will miss her, but we will serve each other as she served everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Where there's love, there's association. So we're always loving her and associating with her in our hearts. Thank you all for your saintly, blessed association. We are very grateful. Thank you so much.
And let's pray for her family, please, so that they can deal with this separation. Yeah.
Mother
Krishna is
Krishna
with
Nandini
us.
Ki.
Jai.
Jai.
Prabhupada Ki.
Jai.
Hari
Mother Krishna Nandini ki jai.
Jai.
Jai.